record. Here goes the encoder.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing.
Right.
He really
And
don't.
you are good to go.
It's all talk. Hey, we're live. Terry and Gary's Low Expectations podcast. I love how we always get to hear we're going live. We're on Facebook. Because I went back and listened to it, and all that's on there. So it's like it really lets you guys know we're coming up. So be prepared. Today we have me, Gary, and then we also have Terry, which is Rhino, aka the Man Beast. And today we have a special guest. I miss him. Can't wait to see him again. Our friend Damien Puckler. How you doing, Damien?
I'm doing good. I paid you to say that, but thanks.
Yeah, I haven't got the check yet, but yeah, we'll see.
I usually pay them to say that too. Every morning I get a text from Dave.
Yeah, exactly.
If I actually had money, I'd have some money. So send it.
Yeah, he's still on the text. We do video Zoom these days. No text anymore, Gary.
Oh,
give it the times, man.
Old school.
I gotta give him a little more scratch too.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe an actual phone that actually works.
Right.
I want to talk to you, Damien, real quick about when we did the promo picture for you. I had to search for probably an hour to find one with you that had a shirt on. So I'm just curious, what's going on with that?
Well, if you go on Pornhub, then obviously that's what's going to happen, right?
That's the problem. I was on the wrong website. There
you go. Yeah, that's your home site on the computer at home, right? That's the problem right there. But no, I'm glad you found one.
Well, actually, my wife is glad I didn't. I was hoping to use the other one, but
right
with the shirt on. So
hey, you gotta show it, man.
Well, I asked you guys to do this whole show shirtless, but no, you didn't want to do it. What can I do?
Hey, I'm in favor.
I tried. Yeah.
Hey, go ahead. With low expectations, we don't want to raise expectations, and
that's right.
People are going to expect that every week. So
that's right.
We ask
you don't want to raise expectations. You also don't want to raise anything else. So let's just keep it that way.
Hey, too late for that, brother.
No.
You're not kidding. Well, this show took a good turn right off the bat.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's all downhill from here. I think
it's all downhill from here. Hey, Terry, ask him some questions. I'm gonna share this. Get this out there, all right?
Okay. So when you said you're on Pornhub, what exact? No. Now, whereabouts in the country are you at right now?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Okay, and now is that where you live?
Yeah, Los Angeles. I'm living in Los Angeles, Burbank area, Los Angeles. But yeah, that's where I am. So it's kind of hot and it's kind of smoky. So
right. Now, where exactly are you from?
That's a good question. How much time do you have? A very, very good question. People always ask me that, and I always have thought about actually tattooing on my forehead. I'm from everywhere. How much time do you have? I'm German, Russian, and I've lived pretty much everywhere. You name it, I've probably lived there or been there. It's really a long, complicated story, but what do I consider myself as? A human. I have no idea. I really don't. I don't really have a home. So
yeah. Now, how long have you been in Los Angeles?
This time? Yeah. This time it's been actually 13 years. 13 years. So yeah, and then I was here early 90s too. As you can tell, I'm very young. I'm in my early 20s. So
now, do you really like Los Angeles?
No.
All right.
You know what? It's a love-hate relationship, honestly. There's a lot of good stuff in Los Angeles. I really love it. There's also a lot of crap in Los Angeles that I really hate. I mean, for one, everybody will say traffic. I mean, traffic in LA is just bonkers. It's crazy. So, but there's a lot of good stuff. It's just where the entertainment industry is at, is where stunts is at, acting is at, so it just happened. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of other places now coming up too, but LA is still kind of where it's at. So.
Right. I think with other places that are popping up, still Los Angeles will be that main fixture, main hub. And, that's a lot of people say the same thing about New York City. It's either you love it, you hate it, or you have a relationship where you love and hate it. Just the congestion and stuff. But there's so much things to do there. If I ever lived in New York, I would have to not have a job outside because, you know, to travel out, I think it would be hard to go in and out every single day.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
I could live there, you know, work there type deal. If I'm not too far from work, walk there, take the subway or something like that. And then, you know, I could understand that. But just to go in and out of the city every day, I think would be tough and straining, you know.
You know how it is actually great to live in New York? You have to be rich. Just have a lot of money.
Right.
Always looking at the positive side.
I was going to say, it's actually very simple. You just need to be really, really rich, and then New York's going to be awesome because you can do anything, anytime. You don't have to go anywhere.
Right. That's why I'm living in Monroe, Michigan, baby. Things are cheap.
Hey, you got to be here too.
Second best choice.
Right. There you go. I actually moved here so I could be closer to Gary. That's the real reason.
Oh, fair enough. Back to Pornhub here.
That's the story. Yeah, you got to make money somehow. It's not off this show. But I want to talk to you because I know you're known for Grimm. You know, that's your big thing. Meisner was such an iconic character in the series. I think it was like 35, 40 episodes. I wish there should have been more of Meisner in there.
Yeah,
but,
I think so too. It should have been way more.
Way more.
I'm just kidding.
How did that come about? How did you land the role of Meisner and Grimm?
You know, it's quite a funny story because I was hired as a stuntman to do, technically speaking, one episode of a fight scene and die. Then I found out that it was supposed to be 3 episodes because they wanted to introduce my character first and then have the fight scene and then die. But after the first couple of episodes, people liked the character, and then I also had lunch or dinner with one of the writers, and he found out more about my past, the fighting background and the stuff like that, and he was like, "Wow, dang! Well, we got to do something a little bigger than that." So I stayed on for that, almost for that entire. It was like 13 episodes in that season, and then they put on a big fight scene in the end, which I not only survived, I also then went into hiding as the character, and I didn't know what that meant. I don't think they knew what that meant. And then I was almost gone for the entire next season, and I was going back to, you know, training people and teaching fitness and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was done. And then all of a sudden, the end of 4th season, they called me, or they called my manager, and they said, "Hey, we want Damien back as Meisner. It's just the last episode." And I was like, "What for?" And that was the whole episode with I don't know if you remember, but the episode with the helicopter where I show up, kill that king, and suddenly I take the helmet off, turn to the kid, and say, "Down with the king." And it was like this big thing. And and then I was like, "Wow, how can I not come back for 5th season?" And I did. And then it kind of became almost like an actual real character in the show. Yeah. And I mean, I loved it. I loved every moment of it. It was fantastic. It was an experience.
What was what, 5 seasons or 6 seasons? It seems like
the show went 6 seasons, but it was, technically speaking, was 5.5. The 6th season was only a half season because they knew they were going to have to end it. Right. So they gave them half a season to end it, which is a little unfortunate because it was a little rushed. But then again, the writers did such a great job that they still kind of squeezed it in and made it happen. So
it really seems like every great series, you know, ends too soon. But you don't want to go long. But the being the 6th season, I didn't think it got tied up. You know, it didn't finish for me completely.
Of course not. No, of course not. I mean, how could you? After, like, you know, establishing everything for 5 seasons, you get told you have, I don't know, 12 episodes or 13 episodes to finish it. They're like, whoa, you know. Yeah,
and
exactly.
Talk of a spinoff too. Have you ever heard about anything about a spinoff on Grimm?
I know absolutely nothing about a spinoff, but then again, I'm not necessarily a series regular character, so I nobody, you know, ever spoke to me about it. I haven't heard anything. I think there was something out there at one point, but I'm kind of sure that it's kind of died. That doesn't mean that at one point they won't do a spinoff or they won't do a television movie with the Grimm character. I don't know. This business is, you know, when they think that it might be financially worthwhile, and I'm sure they'll do it, but we'll have to wait and see.
We were talking about how how the writer or whatever found out, you know, your fighting back skills. So they actually found out how much of a badass you really are.
I'm old now.
Come on, you're still badass. I see you.
I'm sitting actually in a wheelchair right now. I'm just kidding.
Our last sitting in the toilet. So I mean, wheelchairs, toilets. I mean, whatever. But yeah,
exactly.
Tell everybody about your fighting background. I mean, I think we talked a little bit about the devil hands of Dim Mak.
Yeah, as I said, it's not what it was portrayed in Bloodsport. It's more of a pressure point fighting system that I learned actually in Australia, out of all places. Fighting background, did a lot of martial arts when I was a kid. Started at 4. I was actually supposed to start with soccer, but I ended up doing the martial arts, and went from that to doing all these katas and karate and stuff like that. Then I got my butt kicked being a black belt as a 13-year-old or something like this, and I was really unhappy. And I didn't want nothing else to do with martial arts because I was like, this is not working, which is not necessarily true, but I just felt like I was, sat on by 4 guys. So I couldn't defend myself, and I wanted to give it up. And then a friend of mine who was older was like, you should do some more kickboxing, more like, actually contact sport. And I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. I kind of liked it, but I was like, I don't know. And then he said, I'm going to a seminar in Thailand. And I was like, what is that? He goes, well, Thailand, it's a land. Duh. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm going to do Muay Thai. I'm like, okay. I was like, I didn't know what he was talking about, but I was intrigued, and I told my dad I would like to go during the summer, go to that camp with him. And I did, and everything went from there. I actually then went full on into Muay Thai. I was in Thailand for a long time, and then unfortunately had a motorcycle accident like in my early 20s. That completely destroyed my hip, and was told that I remember getting on the bike, and then I remember waking up in the hospital and they're saying, hey, what the hell happened? And they told me that you're lucky if you're going to walk. So I was like, oh, okay, wait a minute, I'm a fighter. Like, no, you're not anymore. So that was that. And then I had no idea what I was going to do, and ended up doing just any kind of work, and ended up doing stunt work, because it took me a while to actually recover physically, but after I did, I started doing just some stunt work.
How long did it take you to recover from that?
You know what? About 2 years to be able to walk normal.
Oh.
And it's funny because I just posted on my Instagram and Facebook. I posted a picture where I'm in the stretch machine, because I used to be extremely flexible. I used to pride myself of doing all the stuff that Van Damme used to do, and then I couldn't even freaking spread my legs apart to do anything and kick. It was difficult, but it's like almost 3 decades ago now, and I'm in that stretch machine, and I'm almost feeling like if I just keep going a little more, I'll be able to do the full splits again with the machine. That's a little different, but still, it's just it's a lot of work, a lot of rehab stuff. People don't understand. I mean, I do all the regular kicks and all the regular training to do the fight scene, the stunt scenes now. But I do a lot of rehab work too, which an hour and a half sometimes, which takes forever. And anybody who's done sports, I'm sure, Rhino, sometimes the rehab work is more exhausting than the actual training. It's like, Jesus, so tedious and so slow. And it's like, oh God, So exactly. So yeah, it's a lot of work. People have always asked me in Grimm's, like, how are you, you always talk about your injuries. How are you holding up doing these fight scenes? I was like, well, 10, 12 ad moves later, I'm good to go. And then I have 2 weeks on the couch, but hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Is stunt work what got you into acting then?
Excuse me?
Is stunt work what got you into the acting?
Funny enough, yeah, kind of. They kept asking if I could deliver some lines. And I was like, So I actually decided to go to drama school. And went to a drama school, went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and here in Pasadena. It was in Pasadena back then. Now it's in Hollywood. And then I went to London for a bit to go to the Central School of Speech and Drama as well. And I actually really liked it. I didn't think I would. I was like, wow, this is actually really cool. I mean, I was always so physical that suddenly having to be more verbal and actually, learning all these different kind of abilities because when I started, I was like Italian on crack. You know what I mean? Because I'm so physical that it's really hard for me to not be so physical, right? And so I had to really work on that. But I actually really liked it. It was a lot of fun. And ironically, I would always be the one in my teenager years saying, Shakespeare, what a pilar, all that. But it's all this dumb. And then here I am in my mid-20s or early, like mid-20s, late 20s going, oh, if music be the fruit of love. I'm like, this is awesome, so. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It was awesome. And I realized that a lot of those plays are actually, they're quite hardcore. I mean, you think, you always think you always think of these men in tights and with their swords and, being all fancy. And then you actually read it and you actually understand, you go, these are pretty hardcore stories, man. This is some serious stuff. I mean, murder, intrigue, all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool.
Like Men in Tights here. We got one.
Yeah, I'm sure. I know.
Wearing tights.
yeah, exactly.
All right. So, now you trained in England. Did you pick up theater there? Did you go on Broadway? Did you do anything like that, or did you just go straight from?
No. I actually understudied Brendan Fraser on the West End in London, Cat in the Hot Tin Roof, which was huge because I had never really done any big theater before, and suddenly here I'm in the West End, and I mean that was like quite intense, but it was just amazing. And again, I'm a huge lover of theater. I mean, dare I say it, if I could live on just doing theater, I would, but that's really hard, even for people who are successful in that business. It's hard to actually make enough money to live on it, So, mind you, I do love film too, but it's just theater. It's just a different kind of a thing.
Right.
Is there a certain point where you just felt like you caught like an acting bug, or the desire to want to keep making this a career, or is it?
Well, once I went to those drama schools, I definitely was like, wow, I love the stunts, and I will always do the stunts. But I was like, no, I'm definitely gonna, try to give this an actual push too, and try to actually go for it. And then, as I said, I ended up in London, being in Cat in the Hot Tin Roof in the West End, and that was actually when an agent from Los Angeles saw me and said, hey, I want you to come to Los Angeles. But I was like, nah, I was in a relationship and everything. I said, I can't go to Los Angeles right now. So, and then later on, I picked up on that and I said, hey, I kind of might actually come over to Los Angeles, and I did, and he managed me for a bit. Unfortunately, he was a little older, so he ended up dying very soon after I came to Los Angeles from pneumonia. So I was like, whoa, okay, what do I got to do next? And that's where I ended up kind of like living in my car a little bit and doing all that kind of stuff that you always hear people do when they're in Los Angeles, and they just have to rough it. But that's the nature of the game, so it is what it is.
I'm glad you found a good manager that brought you to Los Angeles, because when Terry got called to Los Angeles, he got there. Next thing you know, he's posing and promiscuous poses. And
Mike, I didn't say I didn't do it. I kept that quiet. That's for another podcast.
It's out there now. That's all they're going to get from this podcast. Porn
exactly.
Damien Puckler. It'll be on the news tomorrow.
Right.
Any news is good news, right?
That's right. That's what Madonna says. A lot of people right now watching this are going to go, who? Which is sad.
We have an older age demographic, I'd say.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is, Gary.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I am the oldest. I am the elder here, so.
Yeah, well. Are you? How old are you?
I'll be 49.
Dude, we're so close. We're so close. I'm 48. You're 48. You're not actually older. You're still 48. I'm 48.
48? Yeah, I am still 48.
So there you go.
21. Yep. We're the same age.
What about Rhino? He's like...
I'm going to be 45 October 7th.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my birthday card in the mail, so from both of you guys.
I'm going to put the one with confetti in it.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So, last year, you got me the one that you opened it up and the song It's Raining Men started playing.
There you go. Perfect.
Which was actually released on September 10th, 1982. Don't ask me why I know.
No.
Big fan of the Weather Girls.
Wait till you see what I send you this year.
We have to have another podcast just for that.
We'll have to have therapy after that. So how many movies and shows have you done stunts in? I know you've been in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I saw that episode. You were like in a
jump
bomb suit or something. And a jump?
That was hilarious because they tell me to come by and they tell me, hey, can you jump this railing? I'm like, yeah, sure. So he goes, jump it so we know that you can do it. So I jumped the railing, which was doable. Then he goes, okay, now let's put you in that suit and see if you can do it. And I'm like, what suit? And he goes, this bomb squat suit. And I'm like, okay. And he said, well, we mock. It's a mock-up. The real one is like 70 pounds. This is only 50. I'm like, okay. That became not only tricky because the weight, it also became tricky because the helmet that I have on, I couldn't actually see what the rating was. So it was actually trickier than it looks, but it was a hell of a lot of fun. So yeah.
Knock it out at one take?
Two. But mainly because the first one in rehearsal I jumped it the way I jump it in the actual show. But the first one I tried to jump. I actually tried to jump it differently to make it a little more like goofy, but they didn't like it because I kind of hit my leg on the top of the railing. I guess it didn't look goofy, it just looked bad. So I just decided to throw my leg up again, and that actually did look goofier. But so 2 takes, yeah. Thank God. I was like, after the second take, they're like, okay. I'm like, that happens a lot though with stunts where you do a take and you go, oh, damn, that hurt. And then you know how much it hurts. And then you go, okay, let's do another one. You go, oh, crap. Because if you know what's coming, it's even worse than if you just go for it. Yeah. So sometimes you're like, oh, man, I'm sure you know, Rhino, when you rehearse, you know the next move that's coming up, you go, oh, crap. Yeah. So yeah,
the ones that you don't think is going to hurt that bad really.
Oh yeah. Always. It's like you injure yourself. Just like I remember I was in Israel. I was actually training with the Border Patrol, and we were training for 2 weeks. Really, really hardcore, intense stuff. And then we had a barbecue at the very end. And I remember getting out of the car and walked to the barbecue to get my burger, and I walked into a pothole, and it went snap, and I cracked my ankle, and everybody looked at me, and they started laughing because after 2 weeks of killing it, I walked into a goddamn pothole, and I cracked my ankle. It's like, oh man, seriously?
Always happens. Yeah. Always happens.
Exactly. So yeah.
Being October. This is the month of horror, my wife's favorite month of the year.
I see you wearing the mask already. I like it.
Yeah, you like that?
It's very good.
I'm scary all year round.
Yeah. You said it.
You gotta ask you, what's your favorite scary movie?
My favorite scary movie? Well, obviously, I would have to say Redwood Massacre and Anihilation because I'm in it and it's coming up this month.
That's what we
Exactly. But no, seriously, my favorite scary movie, that's a tough one. Ironically, I'm not actually I don't know that much about horror films because I don't usually watch them that much. But I always remember that my people are going to go, really? But my parents actually took me, as a child, they went to see Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street. God knows why they took me. I was a kid. But they had to leave because apparently, and I don't remember this, I would jump up and go, come on, I'll bring it. I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to kick your ass. So I wasn't scared. I wanted to kick his ass. So I don't know what that means. But my scariest favorite movie, personally, is actually not necessarily a horror film. It's Jaws. Oh. I always used to be fascinated by sharks. Always have as a kid. I wanted to become a marine biologist at one point, and I studied sharks and everything, and I just fascinated by it. And then I watched that film, and I was like, I had a hard time getting back in the water. So
you had me worried there for a second because Dawn's got that picture of you hugging her from our show on our nightstand, and when you said you weren't a horror fan, I heard her just kind of put the picture down, face down. And then she heard you say Jaws is one of your favorite movies. That's her favorite movie. So
there you go. It's not that I'm not a horror fan. I just never. I mean, I don't. It's just. I don't know that. I haven't really. I mean, I've seen the general ones. Halloween and they're great films. All great films. But a favorite, I don't really know if I have a favorite. What was actually really good? One that actually just springs to mind, which is actually not from long ago, was Us.
Us.
It's pretty kind of crazy. Yeah.
More like
So.
suspenseful, kind of like. What about you, Terry?
Yeah.
You got a favorite scary movie?
Well, Halloween. I always like the Michael Myers, the first earlier ones and the Rob Zombie ones. But I think you would like a movie because I was the same way. I didn't watch horror films for a long time, and then I started getting into them around 2006, 2007, and then I started doing signings at Horror Hound convention, and then like you'd go to different booths, and I'd walk around and just the different things you'd see, like even if you've never been to one and you enjoy it casually enjoy watching scary movies during the Halloween season, you go to a convention like that and it blows you away, all the stuff that they have, like dolls and different things and stuff outside the box. And I remember this was a few years ago, Dale and Tucker's Evil.
Yeah, Dale and Tucker's Evil.
I don't know.
I've heard that name. Yeah, I've not seen it.
It's a funny movie, but it's scary. It is funny as heck. So I know they've been playing around with the second one, right, Gary?
Yeah. Actually, year after we had Damien, we had one of the stars from that show, Brandon McLaren.
Yeah,
right.
So it's one of my favorites. It's
right.
It is, and it's not necessarily a horror film, but it fits
right.
in. I think it's classified, but it's funny as heck. So yeah, I definitely recommend watching it. But
no, as you said, like the Comic Cons and I love the creativity you usually get from horror films and stuff like that. Just all the different masks and faces and stuff like that. It's crazy. Right. It's pretty intense. Yeah.
And some people already have the mask.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Some are just born with it, right, Gary?
It's a curse.
And I love people watching too. And like you said, the people with people will come in costumes and dressed up, masks and stuff, and it blows you away. Just the creativity, like you were saying. It's
some of those
really
costumes are thousands of dollars, and they're handmade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. That's one of the best.
Oh yeah, I mean the costume in Redwood Massacre Annihilation cost $55,000 alone just for the monster.
Well, let's talk about that. You play Max in an upcoming horror movie, Redwood Massacre Annihilation.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about Max?
Well, Max is one of those guys who's absolutely obsessed with serial killers and mass murderers, and he's absolutely obsessed with that particular killer. And he goes to an event where the father of one of the murdered girls is giving a book presentation because he wrote a book about the killer and his theories about the killer. And Max goes to see him and says that he would like him to come with him to try to track the killer down. And because he has found evidence himself, he actually found the mask and he found the murder weapon, and he shows it to him because at first he's like, "Who are you?" And then they hook up with the father's other daughter, Danielle Harris. Scream, can't say that. Scream Queen, #1. Amazing person, amazing actress, just awesome. And so they all go on a hike together to try to track down the killer. And well, let me put it this way: they do find him.
Now, is it the typical horror movie? I mean, is it like
Not at all. It's actually not the typical horror movie at all. Which is a lot of people have the people who have actually reviewed it and looked at it have said it does not have the classical kind of suspense kind of things in it, but it makes it's just a little different. It has different characters in it than you would expect. It has different angles in it that you would expect. There's a lot of humor that's hilarious in it, but there's also some serious gore and there's some seriously effed up stuff in it that's just beautiful.
Beautiful. You got to have the effed up stuff.
Sounds a little bit like my marriage.
Wow. All right, here we go. Another podcast.
Don't get them going.
Yeah, you know who's sleeping on the couch tonight, right?
Right. Well, no, we're divorced, so.
You're probably sleeping on that elliptical back there.
Right.
Yeah.
So it comes out soon? Is it coming out?
Yes, it's coming out October 20th, I think. It's coming out for Halloween. So October 20th it's coming out. And if you're in the UK, unfortunately it's only the UK as I found out, you can actually go to frightfest.co.uk, buy tickets for October October 16th or 20th. I don't know, but one of those dates where they have the Fright Fest on. It's online this year. It was supposed to be at Leicester Square, but they had to change it due to the coronavirus to do it back online, and they're doing it online. So you can buy tickets to actually watch it in the UK via that their streaming method, and you can get tickets. frightfest.co.uk. And everybody else here, it's going to be. I think it's going to be on the main streaming platforms. I don't actually know exactly where it's going to be because they haven't told us yet, but it's going to be the regular, the regular streaming platforms.
Okay.
Now,
I'll let people know once I know.
Okay.
Definitely. And then Annihilation, there was the Redwood Massacre one. Is this a sequel to it? Is it a totally different story? Is it?
So you do not have to have seen the first one. I haven't. And well, it's because when I spoke to the director the first time we spoke together, he said, "Have you watched the first one?" I said, "No, I haven't." He goes, "Well, don't." I said, "Okay," but I just haven't watched it. But you don't need to see it. I mean, you can. But it doesn't take away from the second one at all. It stands on its own. So
probably the director was telling you that because you don't want to, when guys are getting into wrestling or girls are getting into wrestling, a lot of training schools would not rather them go someplace else first to get a little bit of a start so they can kind of train them the way, like the right way and stuff. And maybe that's why he didn't want you to watch it. So you don't start thinking of this and how you should act in here or there or whatever. So maybe that's why I didn't want to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I know David Ryan Keith is the director, and I think his thing is that he always thinks that he always downplays himself. The guy is incredibly talented. I mean, again, I said that in a podcast about a week ago. He always questions his moves and his ways he does films. Because he's an up and coming, he's pretty new director still, young director. He's done quite a bit of stuff, but he's not he's not out there yet. He's getting there. And yet I've worked with so many people, and then I worked with this guy, and he's just naturally has a talent to see these shots and see the way he wants to move the camera. Not a lot of people have that. You need to have that in your instinct, in your gut, and he has that. So I think he just thought that maybe I shouldn't watch the first film before we shoot the second one because he might think that I don't think that it's a great film or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. But I think he just downplays himself, and yet his stuff is awesome. So.
Yeah, some of the just having that instinct and stuff, and that goes a long way, and it shows in the product, So
I'm sure that's the same with wrestling too. I always remember when I went from being an actual fighter, professional fighter, to having to be a stuntman. Now, for years and years and years, I trained how to kick somebody and penetrate him and slice him in half and destroy his bones and completely crush him. And here I am now having to kick them, making it look like I'm trying to do that, and yet I'm not supposed to hurt him at all. I was like, I don't know that I was supposed to do that. That was hard. That was really hard. And it's a completely different game, making it look good on film. This... People who criticize some actors, martial arts actors, and say, well, they're not a real fighter. Like this big fan of Van Damme myself, huge fan of Van Damme. And they say, well, he's never been a real fighter. He has done a little fighting, but he's never been a real fighter. It's like, that's not the point, my friend. The point is to be able to make it look good on film. It's just a whole different talent. It's really complicated and hard.
Right.
Same, I guess, with wrestling too, right?
Yeah, and the thing with wrestling is...
Go ahead.
Oh,
we talked to Kim Shamrock about that.
Yeah, right. But no, with wrestling is the thing I really enjoy the most is that live audience and being able and a lot of times instinct. You can try to think oh well they'll want to see this or this, but until you're really out there and you feed off of them too. And the cool thing about wrestling is fan participation. And you don't get that in a lot of other sports because the athletes are told to, not say anything to the fans or whatever. Like if right. I used to go to a lot of baseball games. The last couple of years, I haven't been able to get out there. But anyways, you hear people yelling at the outfielders and they're told to ignore them, right? But in wrestling, if someone's yelling at you, you can turn around and give them the bird or yell
right in their
back.
face.
Yeah, and people, the fans love it, you know, and especially if you know, they get your attention and you know, yell back at them, they feel empowered in a way, you know. It's like, wow, he recognized me, you know. So, but
Right.
that's like you were saying, an instinct, you know, whether it's an actor, you know, whether you're doing a stunt or, you know, whether you're directing, you know, if you have that good instinct, you know, and it can make it better. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We got a couple comments here. Patrick Mendez wanted to say, "Hey, how can you not like Meisner? Oh my God, that scene was a holy shit moment when he took off his helmet." So you got some, you got some fans, and our friend Rita Doobie also wants to know if you know Rita.
Of course I did.
Yeah, if given the choice to do a movie, which would you choose first, a thriller or a comedy, and why?
Right now, a comedy, because since I love Meisner, I love Grimm, and that was an amazing time. It has kind of given me a bit of a problem, though, because people are casting me only as the very stoic, quiet, tough guy with a tough voice. And that's fine. I love it. I love playing it. Any guy would love playing that. But I have noticed that, like, looking at it from a very, very professional point of view, I hardly get auditions for comedies because people go, "Oh, that's the guy from Grimm, Meisner. No, he won't fit." It's like, dude, man. I mean, am I funny? No,
They just don't know.
You know what I mean? So I was very happy when Meisner came back as a ghost in season 6, and because I always remember discussing it with the writers, and the first scene I did was kind of mocking Sasha, as in the captain, and it was written almost a little comical, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna see if anybody says anything here, because obviously Meisner is very different. So I was like, I'm just gonna freaking try to be a little cheeky and funny, not Meisner-like, and they were like saying, okay, you're playing a different character. I'm like, I'm a ghost. There are no rules. What is a ghost of Meisner like? What is a ghost like? Nobody knows. And they were like, okay. And it was great because I could start playing. I played with it, and I actually really enjoyed that because I could be a little bit more, you know, loose. So I would say comedy right now. I do love thrillers, you know. Technically speaking, right now, I'd do anything. but no, wow. Anyway. Otherwise, we're going back to Pornhub again, right? I know.
Right.
As I always say, people always ask you, always used to ask me when times were tough, what are you going to do next? I say, well, you know, I got to go back to stripping. It's just the way it is.
Gary went back to that. They shut the club back down.
Yeah, exactly.
Make them pay by the pound for this, you know.
Got to be
So,
gotta be outdoor in the park stripping.
Right.
Anywhere we can. I mean,
right.
We're gonna
have with a mask on, but nothing else.
Right.
We'll have to invite him to.
And the question is, where is the mask on?
There you go.
Anyway,
safety first.
Yeah.
We'll have Damien at our Speedo week.
Right.
You want to talk about Speedo week, or
that's a deal.
When we're not live, Gary.
Right.
Oh, we are live. Oh, okay.
No, he meant when we're not live. Yeah.
Sometimes we don't know.
Story of my life.
Yeah.
But we gotta talk about Bash at the Boatyard real quick. We got an event coming up October 15th. Bash at the Boatyard. What are we gonna have there, Terry?
Well, we're gonna have the Battle Royal, Boatyard Battle Royal. We're gonna have the main event, myself, DBA, and versus DTA, managed by Johnny Bravo. And
Bravo.
Yeah, it's gonna be a anything goes type match. So maybe someone will get thrown in the drink. Who knows? But yeah, it's gonna be six matches. A handful of tickets left. We're only doing 100 tickets just because of everybody wears a mask and stuff. And yeah, you can spread out. You can bring your lawn chairs. We'll have fold up chairs that'll all be wiped down. And yeah, it'll be a fun show.
Looking forward to it. Almost gone. There's only maybe a handful of tickets left. So
yeah. And one of the reasons why we want to do it is just to keep the momentum going. With because we can't do any shows at the FOP, so we'll do one here, and then hopefully in November we'll be able to do a show at the FOP. or December or early next year. So
I'd like to see Damien in the ring.
yeah, that'd be awesome. We might have one more spot left in that battle royal.
Do you have like a walking aid there too for me to actually get up there and actually try to a little cane and
right. That's what you do. You use that once you get in the ring, you hit people with it. I see where you're going with it.
Actually, good point. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, when the ref's not looking, you just hit your opponent with it, and throw it out of the ring, and hey, if the ref,
it almost sounds like you've done this before, but no.
Right. A few times.
Well, it was a pleasure having you on. We're gonna have to wrap it up here shortly. You're one of the funnest guests we've ever had at the show in Monroe. Everybody loved you, so you're just.
And again, I'll send you the $20 later. Thank you.
We're up to 40 now. We're up to 40.
Oh, I gotta see.
That's twice.
All right, inflation.
But besides Pornhub and your OnlyFans accounts, can you tell everybody where they can see you, where they can find you?
Well, I mean, I'm on Facebook, Damien Puckler. The problem with Facebook is that I think I'm at the max of what I'm at. I only have a normal. I don't have that fan site Facebook thing. There's a Damien Puckler, an official fan site that's run by my good friend Alex Charlotte from France. She's doing a fantastic job, so you can follow that. But technically speaking, I'm on Instagram under Damien Puckler. Simple. Damien, one word, Damien Puckler, IEN Puckler.
Lots of shirtless pictures.
Lots of shirtless pictures, and yes. And people always ask me, and I'm going to put that out here. People always ask me why I'm not verified. I'll tell you why I'm not verified. Because Instagram won't verify me. So go to Instagram. And it's probably because my full name is Lars Damien Puckler, and in my passport it says Lars Puckler, and then it says pseudonym Damien Puckler. And I sent him that picture, of that passport, but they say it doesn't qualify, so they won't qualify me. They won't verify me. I have no idea why. And I know that you could do it if you go through someone and pay $2-3 grand, but I just refuse to do that. Not that I will not pay that anyway, but even if I could, or if I wanted to, I'm not going to do that. That's just not, that's no way I'm not doing it. So Damien Puckler is the real one. That's me. There's only one. Unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to see it. There you go.
No, I definitely see. You definitely have a personality. As far as comedy.
Oh, shut up!
No, I would really love to see it. Because especially in comedy. Hey, maybe all three of us get together. We shoot a film. We get a baby. We could name it. Something with the baby. 3 Men and a Baby or something like that. Or is that
three men
old men and a baby.
What do you mean, Rhino? 3 Men and a Baby? What do you mean, 2.5 men and a baby? Or
right.
Sorry, Gary.
I'm used to it.
Yeah. Cool. No, that was fun. Say that again?
I said, on that note, thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much, guys.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. It was definitely the lowest expectations that I've ever had. And
that's what we strive for.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got exactly what I came in for.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Terry,
take care, guys.
All right. Take care. Thank you, Damien.
Bye.
All right, Terry. What else you got to say here?
That was a lot of fun, man. A lot of energy. Yeah.
Awesome.
He's really good. And then next year, is he coming back into Monroe when you do the Pop Fest?
We might bring him in. We have a bunch of people that ask for him, so.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, maybe we can plan a wrestling show around that and get him in the ring. Yeah. So I'm not gonna wrestle him. I'll have him on my side. He'll get in there and start throwing these kicks, knocking people's heads off.
He can do the Vulcan death grip. I mean, he's
right.
He trains soldiers and stuff
he's talking about all these trainings and stuff like that, and I'm a little worried.
Did you look him up on Pornhub?
Hey, I'm not going to deny or confirm that.
No, he was a great guy. It was a fun episode. We got, like I said, we got the October show coming up quick, so really.
And that's October 15th. We open the gates at 4:30. Show starts at 5. So we'll be done around 7 o'clock. So the sun usually goes down right around 7:30. So
bring a blanket if you're afraid to be cold.
Bring a blanket. It'll be a lot of fun.
We got the meet and greets going.
Yeah.
McCarty will be there. You'll be there.
Right.
Trey.
All the IWR stars.
So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a good
So-
time. I'm looking forward to it.
A lot.
We're gonna have to find Dave to let him know that we're done. I didn't send a text yet. I've been so busy.
There he is.
I'm here. I'm paying attention.
We also want to say we still have our smoke detector and carbon monoxide detector fundraiser going. If you want to donate, contact us at either of our pages or donate at PayPal at paypal.me/Terry and Gary, and all the money goes straight to buying smoke detectors and fire detectors. And our buddy Calvin got a promotion today.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
he is now captain of the fire department.
Awesome.
Very cool.
So just wanted to get that out there. Congratulations, Calvin.
Yes, congratulations.
And make sure you guys follow us. We're going to be here on the Facebook, on the YouTube soon, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all the rest of them.
Awesome.
Dave, sign us out.
All right.